Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel. My name is Katie Brannon. This is Tea Time True Crime with Katie. And man, you guys, do I have a case for you. We're going to be talking about The Roofman. Now, The Roofman is a movie that's actually coming out October, starring Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst. I love both of them, so I'm excited about the movie. Now, the reason why I started going into this podcast, which before I go on, stay tuned for the ending. I have amazing announcements at the end, so do not forget to stay tuned. But I digress. So The Roofman is actually based on a true story about Jeffrey Manchester. And honestly, I've never heard of this case ever, but it is very kind of well known in the true crime world. This is one of the cases where it's kind of like not a feel-good case. Nobody died, which is awesome. It's a wild case. Like it's going to be a movie. So it's one of those cases that you're like, yeah, I can understand why this was a movie. I totally understand. Now, as I watched the preview, for The Roofman, I was watching it and I'm like, oh, there's Peter Dinklage. Oh, there's Channing Tatum at Toys R Us. What's happening? And I thought it was just like some small indie flick. And I mean, in a way, it kind of is. But I watched the preview because I watched that horror movie that just came out, starring Alison Brie and Dave Franco. And it is called Together. Highly recommend. If you are into the horror kind of genre, body horror, thriller, a 90-minute movie that was definitely worth your time, definitely check out Together. I definitely guarantee it. So I'll go back to The Roofman. So how I stumbled upon the case was the preview of the movie was like exactly that. It was a preview. Now, this, when it said based on a true story, you guys, I don't know if you're ready for this. This is absolutely wild. All right. So if you want to sit back, relax, this is a lighthearted, I feel, true crime. I mean, I'm sure people were emotionally damaged from this. You know, I don't want to downplay that because I don't know if I was in that situation, what I would do. I'd probably faint or crap my pants. Who knows? But today, the tea, you guys, cramps are real and they hurt. So I am doing raspberry tea. And yes, I am using my favorite mug, you guys. It is my Sundance mug. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So let's start from the top. Now, Jeffrey Manchester. I could not find his birthday, so I'm just going to guess. All right. This guy definitely has some Capricorn in him. I don't know if he's a Capricorn sun, but I definitely feel maybe a rising Capricorn. But what I could find that he was born in Sacramento in 1971. He had an average childhood, according to his family. He didn't get into trouble ever, and he was a quiet kid that went to church every Sunday. Yeah. Already we're starting off with, all right, sounds like a nice guy. You guys have no idea. In fact, he is known to be always been polite. I don't mean to do quotations. It's just he literally has always been polite. You don't really hear that in a true crime kind of story where the convict is a nice guy. So yeah, wild. He graduated high school in the early 90s. He joined the military right afterwards, after he graduated high school. Now, he was a part of the 82nd Elite Airborne Division. Yeah. So talk about armed forces, you guys. He was right into the elite. He was highly intelligent. And he was also described as a likable soldier. Right. I never knew I would hear those in, the same sentence. A likable soldier, because, I'm not saying all soldiers are mean, you guys, but I'm saying soldiers are hardcore. They go through extensive training. a lot of trauma. So hearing nice soldier is kind of wild. Now, he was trained in weapons and paratrooping in Fort Bragg. At age 20, he got married. Yeah, he married this girl named Talena, and she worked at a McDonald's. Now, you're probably wondering, like, okay, Katie, why does it matter if she works at McDonald's? Oh, you guys, it definitely matters. Even though it doesn't matter. I mean, McDonald's is like the largest restaurant chain in the world. So, not hating on McDonald's, but I definitely am hating on McDonald's, especially after this story. You'll understand why. So, they had twin boys in 1992 and then a daughter short after. Now, his service in the military ended after 9 years. He did not do well with this adjustment at all, okay? He did not do well in civilian life. So, he actually, in January 1998, he joined the Army Reserves. He was a supply sergeant. And during that time, there began to be trouble in the marriage around mid-year in 1998. Now, Talena and him, they started to separate. It doesn't seem like that far-fetched. I mean, he was in the military for a while. She's a mother of 3. They're young. Maybe they grew apart. Who knows? But one thing I'll tell you is that his ex-wife still likes him, still says really nice things about her ex-husband. It's kind of wild. So, yeah. So, Talena got custody of their children. Something really strange happened a while later. And after McDonald's, all right, someone drilled a hole in the roof, waited in the ceiling, and waited for the employees to come into work. Yeah, that is terrifying. I don't know if you were in the restaurant business, but it's already high energy, and especially like when you come into work, you need to decompress. Because you're going to deal with people all day. So can you imagine a man just comes from the roof out of nowhere? Like, I feel like it's going to be Mission Impossible style. I don't know what else to say. So, all right. Now, move forward. Jeffrey had a heist in mind. Yeah, guys, we're talking about Jeffrey. You would think we were talking about Talena. I mean, I thought we were too. I'm like, girl works at McDonald's. She's stealing from McDonald's. Makes sense, right? No, it was not her. It was Jeffrey, her husband. He wanted to do a heist, and he honestly forgot it was a holiday at that time. So he eventually left the McDonald's without completing the heist. Because in the 90s, believe it or not, a lot of places closed. They were not open 24 hours, especially McDonald's. And there's still McDonald's that, close at 9 or 10. And there's still 24-hour McDonald's. But back in the 90s, they closed during Thanksgiving. And silly Jeffrey, he forgot it was Thanksgiving. So he left and he realized, I'll make another plan. Well, this time he waited on Christmas Eve, and outside of Sacramento, California, he went and drilled another hole in the ceiling. And how he got there is he would climb roofs, you guys. He would climb roofs of the restaurants, drill a hole in the ceiling with the intention of not having the alarm go off at all. And what do you know? It worked like a charm. Yeah, he went in there, he stole some cash, and he wanted to keep going. I mean, the way he describes it, it was like a thrill. And he just began robbing multiple McDonald's in California. Just kept on going. And then he drifted into Nevada. He would prepare himself by taking a backpack full of rope, tools, saws, and then he would just go on top of the roof. Yeah. So, like I said, he would drill a hole 2 feet by 2 feet while the restaurant was completely empty. Nobody there. And then he would drop down from the ceiling, not detected by any alarm. So, like I said, this is some like Mission Impossible kind of heist vibes. Like, it's kind of wild. So, it's at that time, I mean, now I don't think you could ever get away with it with the technology and the security cameras that we have. But this was a brilliant way to break into a place. Yeah, I mean, I hate to sound like a criminal here, but it kind of is. So he then would go into the restaurant while the employees were there. And then as he got down, he would surprise them, gather them together at gunpoint while wearing a mask. He either wore all dark green or all black. He would then hold the gun, threaten the employees, but in a very polite way. I don't know how threatening could be polite, but according to sources, he was polite. He would make sure the employees would grab their jackets, and he would gently put them in the walk-in freezer of the restaurant. Now, you guys, I thought that was really sweet. Like, oh my gosh, you have a jacket? I mean, not you have a jacket, but oh my gosh, you're letting them have a jacket and letting them put it on and go in the freezer? It was until I talked to my husband and I was like, George, isn't that like really wow, And he was like, no, not really. So my husband does HVAC for restaurants. So he knows a lot about pretty much, anything about restaurants and HVAC. Yeah, pretty much. There you go. So he was saying it's like negative 15 degrees in the freezer. So whether they had jackets or not, if no one came to them within 15 minutes, they were in big trouble. So as much as I thought that was really sweet for, him to be like, grab your jackets, let's go in the freezer. And then he would apologetically instruct managers and supervisors to open the safes. Yeah. He would literally grab the money and he would put the supervisor and manager in the deep freezer as well with the employees. Yeah. And then he would get a lemon slicer, which I'm not really sure what that looks like. I'll have it up on the screen. A lemon slicer in the door handle of the freezer. Yeah. Pretty wild. Before you brace yourself, because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're in the freezer. What in the world? I'm taking a sip of tea, you guys. He would call authorities and tell them that the people were in the freezer. I mean, the employees. They're people too. You know what I mean. Which I think was really awesome. And, out of all of these heists, yeah, when I say all of these heists, you're going to be like, what? Yeah. Jeffrey ended up hitting 35 spots, starting November of 1998 all the way through October of 1999. He robbed in Virginia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Maryland, and he robbed these places the same way as how he did in California, in Northern California. The police believed this robber would never be caught. They're like, there's no way we can get this guy. I mean, 35 times. I know, and I'm thinking like, is he Spider-Man? Is he Batman? How is he getting away with this? Now, California felt kind of dumb. They did. And they ended up creating a 9-state task force to find this roofer. Okay? The Roofman is what he was called. The Roofman robber, also known as, of course, Roofman. Yeah. They also said he was a gentleman bandit. Gentleman bandit, yeah. So there was one instance where the employees were grabbing their jackets, and one employee was cooking sausage on the grill, and and Jeffrey let them finish cooking their sausage before putting them in the freezer. Managers were saying that this guy kept really apologizing every time he was stealing for them. Like, you know, would you please, ma'am, get down? Or would you please, sir, get on the ground? I'm very, very sorry. Please. And people were just like, but wow, this guy's nice. But you got to remember, he still robbed people at gunpoint. I mean, you're still robbing people at gunpoint. I feel like that is still very traumatic, emotional damage. Yeah. So you're probably wondering, okay, well, Katie, how did he get away with this? Like, honestly, it was quite brilliant. Like, remember how I told you had a backpack full of tools, and he's drilling holes, and he's robbing them, and he's leaving. Well, he was such an amazing shape and athletic. He would like jump off a roof. And there was an instance where he jumped off a roof, went into a chain link fence, climbed down or up, went running through a highway and into the forest of trees. Yeah, the cops couldn't get him at all. And then he would always, when he was running from the scene, he would run really, really fast. And he would park his car like a mile away. Like not even close to the scene. It was brilliant. Yeah. Police were wondering, well, I mean, is it a former McDonald's employee? Who is this guy? How does he know the layout? You know what I'm saying? I think I can answer that one for you there, Copper. Well, he like stole a few dozen more, okay? So I was told that McDonald's in the 90s and even today, a lot of the McDonald's layout is still the same. So when he did the first and second one and just kept going and going and going, he memorized where everything was. So it was just easier and easier and easier, and he got out faster. But you got to realize sometimes he went in there when there was cash. I mean, I don't know if he broke in every time, like the safe, because he did hold up employees. Like he waited until the employees were walking in, and then he got them by gunpoint and then, you know, took all the loot. Investigators started immediately thinking he was definitely military trained. 100%. Right down from the rope, the hole in the ceiling, just really, really good. And he would drop like 10 feet out of the ceiling. Again, like cue the Mission Impossible music. Dur, 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 dur. Yeah, exactly. Now, what I also read that McDonald's, I mean, after getting hit like over 30 times of getting robbed, McDonald's started to get strict with their employees, which I'm like, why the employees? Okay, example. They would not get a new alarm system, which they should have. Probably should have had motion sensor cameras or something like that. And they would not get bodyguards. No. Instead, they would make sure the employees would not play any music, have any earphones in at closing, or at all during working or their break, because they always had to be on the lookout for someone on the roof. I would be like, I'm getting paid a minimum wage, I'm getting yelled at, and I feel greasy all day, and now I can't listen to music? Yeah, not fun, no dice. So Jeffrey just kept on robbing. I mean, honestly, he just kept on going. Now, he kept on robbing restaurants until late May 2000. On Saturday, May 20th, 2000, all right, Jeffrey actually jumped into a McDonald's, all right, in Estonia. And the heist was the first time, he took $1,300, right? $1,300. Now, I guess he didn't think that was a lot of money. So around 5 a.m., he went 10 miles down the road. And we're talking Belmont, North Carolina, it's close to Charlotte. He retrieved between the two restaurants $8,000 in cash. Now, with him looting and robbing all these restaurants, you're probably thinking he's got to get caught. He has got to get caught. And this time, he does. The second restaurant that he was breaking into was around 5 a.m. Now, the 5 a.m. heist was a terrible time for him because that was the shift change at Belmont. And you know what that means? A shift change for the police department? That means more cruisers. Yes, there are more cruisers. It's a shift change. So you have people about to leave, people about to come to work. And it was a very small town. So by the time he robbed the first place, you had police going that way. And then that was it. It was shift change. There were 5 cruisers on him. And he realized that Tony Atkins, here it is, Tony Atkins, an officer, passed a car while he was on patrol. It was a white car, and it was abandoned in a church parking lot. Now, it was like a mile from the McDonald's where, remember I said he parked far away? It was a mile from the McDonald's where Jeffrey was just, where he just robbed. He saw a man near the woods. And as soon as he saw a man near the woods, what the man in the woods shouldn't have done was he ran away. Yeah, that doesn't make you look too suspicious. Yeah. So as Jeffrey was running away, the police officer was like, "Oh no, buddy, I'm running after you," because I feel like when you run away from the cops, they know you did something wrong. But if he just kept his cool and was like, "I'm just walking in the forest, and seeing how things are." I mean, who knows? I'm not trying to, sorry. I just get tongue-tied and random. ADD is real. But that's how they got him. He started running, and then the cops saw him running. And then before you know it, the guy, Officer Adkins, called back up. As soon as he saw the guy run, he called back up, and before you knew it, 5 cruisers was there right by the woods. And, they came to, and they ran around, and they found Jeffrey. Jeffrey was carrying a backpack with all of his tools, all of it. And officers grabbed him, cuffed him, and, Jeffrey immediately said to them, "You guys are doing a good job today," he politely said. What is it with this guy? Yeah. So the Belmont police described him as very, very cooperative and very polite. So Jeffrey immediately denied his involvement in the other robberies because, of course, Officer Atkins was like, "We got him. This has got to be the Roofman." He was all excited. But Jeffrey was like, No, I'm not. Yes, I robbed these 2. Sorry, my bad. I mean, that was not his, correct terminology, but who knows? He was polite, so you never know. So he was saying that, no, I am a copycat because I kept seeing all over the news about the Roofman. So I thought I'd try it myself. So I did rob these 2 restaurants, but the other ones I did not do. But honestly, you guys, people were starting to believe it. He's a very nice guy. They're like, "Okay, well, you're going to jail, right?" Well, the investigators start investigating, and they find out that his military records gave him away. When they gave him away, as meaning that when you have military records, they have everywhere where you're supposed to be. And he traveled a lot. And unfortunately, those restaurants and the places that he robbed were very close to where he was working. So that did not look good for him at all. By the time he was arrested, police believed that he robbed 42 businesses. 32 of those were McDonald's, a Toys R Us, 2 video game stores, even a grocery store. He was finally caught in North Carolina. All in all, he robbed in 9 states. Yeah, he went on a robbing I mean, he was like Robin Hood, you know what I'm saying? But I'll get to that later. But he was just robbing everywhere. Just a crime spree of just stealing and looting. He stole in Maryland, Minnesota, Nevada, Oregon, South Carolina, Virginia, and Washington. $100,000 ended up being what was stolen out of all these places altogether. I mean, back then, I feel $100,000 in 2000 was a lot of money. A lot of money. Now, August 15th, 2000, Jeffrey pleaded not guilty on all the charges in North Carolina. He immediately, when he went, to the judge, he was like, nope, I'm not guilty for all of and none of them. And then he also said, because they're like, listen, you are guilty. We caught you red-handed. Here is the evidence, of course, the military record. And then he said, well, when I watched Gladiator, yes, Gladiator, not the new one, the first one with Russell Crowe, he said that movie just made him feel aggressive. I mean, unless he was watching Gladiator before every heist, I don't think that's a really good, the reason for doing that. Now, the police and the judge, they were trying to get him on kidnapping charges. And Jeffrey was just not having it. He goes, I did not kidnap anybody. Well, in the ways of the court goes, if you put someone in a position that, is against their will, I feel like that's kidnapping. And yes, he just said he locked them in the freezer for the purposes of just holding them. That's it. And it didn't matter. The judge didn't think he was polite. The judge didn't think he was kind. And it didn't really get him anywhere. So the judge sentenced 28-year-old Jeffrey Manchester to 45 years in prison. I know. Ugh. Yeah. Bye, Jeffrey. Bye. You know what, guys? We're talking about the movie magic right now. 4 years later, while he's in prison, guess what? He escaped. He went to go hide out in a Toys R Us, living off of baby food and candy, such as M&Ms. So he escaped. This is nuts how he escaped, you guys. So he became a model, prisoner, like a model prisoner. And they put him in, the woodworking. So he actually escaped by grabbing a sheet of metal, okay? And I don't know if he spray painted black or painted black or something like that. So as he got out of prison and he hid in the woods, he would, again, his patience. I mean, I guess it's the military discipline, but he was very patient. And he waited under that sheet of metal until, no one was around for a very long time and no one saw him, and he escaped. Now, I don't know if he escaped, underground. It didn't say that. Something tells me that he just escaped through the fence. Because remember, he had no problem climbing chain fences. So I have a feeling that that's how he escaped. But, yeah. But when I read about, him taking the huge sheet metal and just, hiding underneath it in the woods and getting away with it where no one saw him, I was like, man, he's smart. That's crazy. So he did go hide out and in a Toys R Us. Now, when he hid out in the Toys R Us, he hid out in a bike rack, which I'm like, Toys R Us, RIP, that's no more. But when I was a kid, Toys R Us was huge. It was like Happy Land. The bike rack. I'm trying to think. I remember Toys R Us being huge. Toys R Us was a very, very big place. And he had a cubby or something that he designed by the bike rack that came with a board and bungee cords. And then it actually, the little cubby led out to a hideout in Circuit City, where he built a little place. Yeah. It's nuts. He would get the water from Toys R Us to go to Circuit City to live. And he would take items with him such as posters, toys, smoke detector, DVD players, Spider-Man 2, specifically. And okay, so it was a 4x10 cubby that he made. He started to go by the name John Zorn. And let me tell you something. John Zorn was the kind of guy everybody liked. They did not have any suspicion that he was a escaped convict. Like, at all. He joined a church, and then he developed a love interest with a single mother. Her name was Lee. And he very much started to fall for her. He told everybody that he worked for the government. That's how he, got away with it for a while. He lived a double life. And things were going pretty good. He made friends. He's in church. I just don't understand, like, when you're dating a guy, and I'm not trying to, like, blame her or anything, but if he's an escaped convict and you're having, relations, you probably are like, hey, let's go to your place. And he was like, no, let's go to your place. I mean, he probably made up lie after lie after lie. But doesn't matter because he was very loved in that small town. John Zorn was very loved. Like, he helped people. I mean, apparently the pastor loved Seinfeld, and John gave him this 2 seasons of Seinfeld or something like that. I was like, what? So he got along with everybody in that small town, but as months went by, the facade that he developed for this double life began to fade. His itch started to have an itch that really needed to be scratched. And I feel really bad because this part, he could have literally been with Lee and I guess, told her one day what happened, but by then they're like so in love, I don't think she would care. And he would be like, let's move to Mexico or something. And this girl was really falling for him. And I think she would have. I think her and her child would move to Mexico for him. I don't know. But he's a criminal. I hate to say it. I mean, it's just the adrenaline was just too much because I was wondering, why did he start robbing in the first place? My theory is this. Once you have like this elite, class in the military, I mean, a paratrooper, one of the very intelligent, you are a thrill seeking, you never know what's going to happen. They said like in 18 hours, like if you're called on duty, you could be anywhere in the world. So imagine that adrenaline. Imagine not knowing, right? And I think when he became a civilian, he really missed that adrenaline. He missed that thrill. And unfortunately, there was an itch that, again, he had to scratch. As he was making friends and seeing all the people go in and out of Toys R Us, he made a plan to do another heist. And it was going to be at the Toys R Us that he had been staying at, having a facade at, playing John Zorn, pretty much. He was just playing a character. Even though, I said throughout this podcast, he's a very nice guy, he's still a criminal. I mean, he's still probably scarred people with holding them at gunpoint and putting them in freezers. Like, that's still not fun. So he planned a heist at Toys R Us. And he actually planned this so well, he started to change the employee schedule to make sure that the employees would not interfere with the job that he was trying to do, which is a heist. He waited until December 26th. And that is, I think that's Boxing Day, right? Or is that December 27th. No, it's the day after Christmas. They call it Boxing Day. And that's when he waited to go and rob the store. And he got greedy. Yeah, he did. So remember, he has this new life. He's starting to see Lee. He goes to church every Sunday. He's having all these friends. Well, as he starts to do the heist, he messes up. An employee catches him, and he's trying to make sure the employee doesn't get away, but that's not what happens. The employee actually gets away and calls 911 to get help, and there is just no time. They're in a small town. Cops are like right around the corner, and they go into the Toys R Us, and they surround the place. But as you would have guessed, they did not catch John. No, they did not catch him. Not yet. So he got out of Toys R Us and he went through the cubby, his little hideaway inside Circuit City, and like escaped. And like I said, he booked it. Like he must run like really, really fast. Now, as the police are surrounding the place, they find his little cubby hole. They find his hideout. And they start seeing all these little things around like, oh man, this guy has been living here. You know, they see the DVD players. They see so many dang toys that were hidden in the ceiling, which is kind of heartbreaking because he would take those toys and during church drives or Toys for Tots, I assume he would donate more toys than anyone has ever at that church. Now we know why. Yeah. But it looked like he was slowly stealing and like having a stash. You don't want to steal like everything at once and get noticed, right? So the police are finding everything. They're finding the DVD players. They're finding the fire extinguisher. I mean, he's been living there. Now, the next thing they find, you guys, you can't make this up. You literally cannot make this up. There was a DVD of the movie Catch Me If You Can. Yes. The one starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks and Jennifer Garner. That was a good movie. Another true story. And the police were gathering the things, doing fingerprint testing, and they found his fingerprints on the movie. And that's when Jeffrey Manchester pulled up, not John Zorn. It was a very, very sad time for that little town. For days now, John Zorn has escaped. I believe he was just living in the forest, the trees, just, trying to survive. His girlfriend at the time, well, I can't say girlfriend, I'll say love interest, Lee, her birthday, January 5th, Capricorn. Yeah. So he wanted to see her on her birthday. He did contact her. And there were definitely feelings. I definitely felt like there was love. There was a big connection. And she wanted him to come see her. And it's her birthday. And for a nice guy like that, it is the perfect trap. Yeah. You guys are thinking what I'm thinking. Yeah. Okay. So he shows up there. And yeah, it was a trap. Authorities were there. She contacted them and she turned them in. Oh, man. That is so... I mean, I don't blame her because this looks really bad. But, she did narc. But then you have to feel bad because he was a convict. He did steal a lot. And he did have a gun. And another thing he did that I didn't like, that I forgot to mention, forgive me, is while he was escaping, he ended up burning down his dentist office. Yeah. When I said he was trying to live a normal life as John Zorn, yeah. I believe investigators believe that he burned down the dentist office to get rid of his dental records. But that was really dumb because he destroyed everyone else's records. So thought that was selfish. I think he was just grasping at all straws. I mean, it's it's really crappy. You know, he almost got away with like all of it. She did turn him in, and you're wondering if he was yelling or screaming at her when they were taking him away in handcuffs while she was there. He did not. He was saying that he understood what she did, you know, why she did it. And he did really bad things and he should pay for it. And also he mentioned the plans they had together that they were going to do, that she should still do those plans. She should still live a full life. Woo! I'm sorry, that's a strong man right there. Whew. I mean, he lost his freedom. I'm sure she felt really guilty. I read in some articles that she said, I don't know whether to smack him or hug him. So, very confusing there. But I will say that it did take a little bit for her to turn him in. Like, the police literally had to show her everything. The files, how long he's escaped, and then finally she realized he's a convicted convict. I mean, he's literally an escaped convict. I don't even know this person who I'm falling in love with, and he just, and she kept saying she was confused. I do feel bad for her. That is really crappy. Yeah. Well, January 5th, 2005, he was finally caught. He was sentenced to 45 years in the beginning, remember, with all the robberies? Well, the judge, they don't like escaped convicts, at all. So he added another 40 years. So he actually, to this day, you guys, he's tried escaping again from the North Carolina, it's a huge, very heavy security prison. He tried escaping twice, once in 2009 and once in 2017. He will be 65 years old when he's up for parole. They have him as a parole date for December 4th, 2036. Yeah. That's wild. That's very wild. I mean, honestly, I think he should be hired by the FBI, just ironically, Catch Me If You Can. Remember how the guy was doing all those fake checks and those forgeries, and he worked for the FBI to, so they can find out how he got away with all this, and I think Jeffrey Manchester should do the same. His parents were extremely upset about it. They could not believe their son would do anything like that. Lee was heartbroken, and the mother of his children, Talena, she didn't have a bad thing to say about him. She was very surprised it was him. She did not see that coming at all. And, he's still in prison. Yep, he's still in prison, North Carolina. And the movie that's coming out October 3rd, 2025 is about his life. Well, we'll see what Hollywood does. But I'm very interested about how they do it. I still want to see it. I'm a big indie person. I love indie movies, hence why I just saw Together. And I really enjoyed it. I got a movie poster at the theater. I'm very excited about it. That was not a harsh case at all, in my opinion. But again, I'm sending healing energy to the people that were involved in this case that were, traumatized. They probably had nightmares of people coming through the ceiling and being pushed into freezers and being held at gunpoint. So, not a good time. Not a good time. Thank you guys for listening or watching. I really appreciate you being here. I know it's been a while, but I have big announcements. I have been working very, very hard in my business. I'm in financial services. I named my agency Black Diamond agency. Because if you are a client or an agent of mine, you are very precious to me. So if you are interested in that, definitely click the link below. I look forward to speaking with you, and absolutely free consultation to see what I do and how I help people. Plus, if you want to work from home too, I would love to have you. Awesome. Another announcement that I want to say I'm super, super excited about. I've been doing true crime kind of podcasting. Well, I started with mini videos from TikTok starting 2019, and then I went into actual podcasts in 2023. Yes. And now I have just been, I love doing my podcast. I love getting people's emails and your messages. It means a lot, because I do believe awareness is a very, very huge power that we all have, and we could help many, many people. So as I say that, crimesolverscentral.com, check them out. Pretty incredible. It is a platform where internet sleuths, detectives, people that want to solve cases, cold cases, any cases that of course have not been solved. You go on that website and you see so many other people as yourself putting up evidence and talking about different crimes, and it's a lot. It's a lot. I was very honored when they contacted me and they said they wanted me to be one of their influencers. Yeah, I wouldn't consider myself an influencer, but that was kind of cool. Now, I actually am going to be a guest on their show. I just had rehearsal recently. We had a table read. We talked about a famous case. In fact, the case is a Netflix documentary series that I highly, highly recommend. It is Amy Bradley is Missing. Please, please watch it. We need to keep on going. I know it's been 30 years, but it needs to still stay alive, especially when you look into cruise ships. There are many, many people that have been missing and gone on missing off of cruise ships. So I feel like that was the big mainstream case. And of course, I'm sending love and healing energy to the family, but they wanted me to be on their podcast. So I film with them live. No table read, like we actually get all our notes, and they loved the podcast that I did last year of Amy Bradley, and they want me to be on their show, on their podcast as a guest. Definitely check them out, crimesolverscentral.com, and they have me as one of the influencers that are highlighted there. I had a great time rehearsing. I'm hoping they ask me again if they're like, hey, would you like to come on the show again? I'm like, yes, absolutely. When I went through it, you guys, they're like, you're very passionate about the Amy Bradley case. But in all honesty, you guys, any case that I talk about, I'm extremely passionate about. So I love how we can get other podcasters and we do awareness and help other people. I think it's absolutely amazing. So guys, definitely check that out. We are filming August 10th. And then they're going to do editing and stuff. And there's another podcast that I did with the Oscar Worsty podcast, where we talked about Eternal Sunshine on the Spotless Mind, which is one of my ultimate favorite movies. And they talk about movies, Oscar winners, not Oscar winners. It's a really great podcast. They're personal friends of mine. Definitely check them out. I will have it linked down below. But yeah, those are the announcements. A lot has been going on. I appreciate you guys being here. Please know that you are loved and you are cherished. And remember, you are doing better than you think. Bye.